Welcome to episode 2 of Cowboy Chronicles. Okay, I'm not gonna do that accent this whole time. Do not worry. What do we need to do first and foremost when planning a creative project? Well, you probably need to create a mood board or a vision board to just get all your ideas in one place so that you know what direction you want to take with everything. I created a board on Pinterest called Western Series, and this is where I'm just gathering any idea that's sort of related to this topic. Some of these ideas are going to be more aligned with the vision that I'm trying to create, and then some are less, but it's helpful to kind of just see all the stuff that's out there and then pick and choose what you want. For me, I love a little bit more of a vintage, authentic cowboy look versus something that feels kind of like Hollywood or maybe a little bit more cliche. I love shots like this where it's more about like a candid moment or sort of like catching something as it's happening in real time versus like a superposed perfect looking shot. I also want to work with groups as well as individuals when doing this project. I feel like there's just some things you can get with groups that are so interesting and dynamic in a photo that you just can't get otherwise. Again, I love that vintage, like very cool retro look when it comes to cowboy culture. The clouds, the fence, like just this type of a setting. And they're wearing stuff that feels, obviously a little bit older, but like worn and lived in. That's kind of key for me because I love the fashion elements of Western culture, but I want it to feel a little bit grittier. Here's an example of like the opposite of that. This clearly was from a fashion editorial. Beautiful shot, loved this photo, but it leans a little bit too much fashion and less like interesting artsy cowboy vibes. Same with this. This is like a fun idea, but very Pinteresty, very kind of like cliche. I want to use super dynamic lighting, like mornings or sunsets, or just like really harsh sunlight, something that's going to give a lot of texture and contrast. This shot, I just love this photo. It's obviously a Western themed shot, but done in a very sophisticated way where this light on the chin and the neck is like just so strong and elegant and beautiful. This shot also really speaks to me. I love the nostalgic factor that it has. It also looks like it was shot on film, which is something I'm going to be trying to do throughout this project. Using film is definitely a newer thing for me, so it's going to be a nice way to challenge myself. So now that we've created a mood board, let's start to plan the shoot. The next episode of Cowboy Chronicles is going to be all about logistics. Where do we source the clothing and the props? How do we find a model? Where's our location going to be? So follow along and giddy up, cowboys and cowgirls.